Welcome to this overview on how to create a brilliant assessment. We will start by adding a new assessment. When we add a new assessment, the system creates default settings, graphics, ratings, reports, and email templates for you. They are a good starting point that you can modify to your requirements later. We have a default section and subsection, so we could just start adding questions, but I'm going to rename these first. Section names are visible to the respondent. Subsection names are not. We are going to start our assessment with some identifying questions. The question text is what will appear on the screen, and the short name is used for reporting. These questions have no points associated with them, and they are all text boxes, which we can select from the default answers. Often in an assessment, we want some instructions at the beginning, so I'm going to add some to the first question. Instructions can be fully formatted and include images and videos, and they can appear anywhere in the assessment. Images and videos have been uploaded in the graphics function, and there is a separate video on doing that. Now I have completed these questions. I'm going to add my second section on leadership. This example is a company assessment. My first subsection is going to be leadership style. A subsection is a group of questions on the same subject. I am just going to name it at this stage and come back and add more detail later. We will add our first question. In our case, we are going to score each question out of 5, but it is valuable to read the scoring article in the help to understand the options. I will use the default answers as my answers are standard. Since I have just mentioned the help, we can have a quick look at that. If you click Help here, it is context sensitive and will list articles about the screen you are on. But if you have a specific query like scoring, you can enter that in the search box. Back at our assessment, if you want to change the wording for any of the answers being created, you can do that in the default answer groups on the main menu. If you want to change the answers on a question already created, you can easily modify them on each answer. The format of these answers is inline, which means the answers appear down the page. This format is the most popular for assessments that are likely to be answered on a mobile phone. You can set the answer format in the question, though a slider would work for this question too. Consult the help before considering ranking or matrix questions. Ranking questions are only applicable in specific cases, and matrix questions don't work well on mobile phones because of the limited width. I'm going to stay with inline. Looking at the answers, the scores for each answer have defaulted from the default answers. Again, you can change the defaults, or you could change it for an individual question's answers. Also defaulted is the answer type, but you can see the options. A single choice item allows for the selection of one answer, whereas multi-choice item allows the respondent to select several answers. There are text boxes, numbers, and the ability to get the respondent to upload images, videos, and other files. Now we will add the rest of the questions for this subsection. Now I'm going to start thinking about my feedback report and remembering the subsection groups all the questions on the same subject. The subsection is an excellent place to start. The subsection holds subsection rating text, which is often an important component of the feedback report. In this example, we have ratings of red, orange, and green. Ratings use the percentage calculated by taking the total answer scores for the subsection and dividing them by the total potential score from the questions. Each rating is associated with a percentage range. The names of the ratings can be set to whatever you like, and the percentages that fit into each of those ratings are determined by you as well. Ratings are managed from the rating link on the assessment list, and there's a separate video on that. The feedback for the respondent often differs depending on how well they scored for this subsection. The text can include formatting, but if you are copying text from Word or a website, you should clean the formatting and reformat the text in this editor. As well as the subsections, we may have text at the answer level that only appears on the feedback report when the respondent gives this answer. This text is often used for recommendations, so you wouldn't necessarily have a report text on every answer, but it depends on what is appropriate for your assessment. We have gone on and added more questions. And you can see at the top, we added more sections as well, and we now have our assessment complete. We can use the buttons at the top to review the instructions and the feedback throughout the assessment. If we return to the assessment list, we can use the settings link to set up some of the attributes of the assessment. There is a lot of options here, and it is worth reading through the help text to understand them, but we will just give our assessment a name and save it. The next step is to review the assessment as the respondent will see it. The easiest way of doing that is to go into the responses list and add a response. A welcome email will be sent to your inbox, but you can also use the action menu here, and you can view the response. This is how the respondent will see it. The first thing I notice is that the branding needs to be set up. There is a separate video on that. You can see the instructions that we put in the beginning. You can see that the section name is here, but notice that subsection names are not shown. If you wanted to show the separate subsections, you could add a heading into the instructions for each of the first questions in the subsections. Within the response, to move to the next page, the respondent clicks the Next button. Our questions and answers are all appearing exactly the way we input it in the assessment builder, and we can respond to them. When we get to the end, we click the Finish button and we can see how it appears using the plain template. The template is a Word document, so you have complete flexibility as to how you can update that to reflect your brand standards and to look exactly how you want it. We have several templates that are much more graphical that you may want to consider. As an example, here is our response using one of our graphical templates. Being a Word document, you have complete freedom to get the report looking exactly how you want it. And there is a separate video on building the feedback report. Once you have updated your feedback report, you can use the action menu again to see the feedback report with all your updates. You can just keep improving and testing both the assessment and the feedback report in this way to get a fabulous respondent experience.